Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you are watching from. Welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting for the XSLR, the Cross Series League Racing Season 9, Round Number 1 from Knoxville Speedway, the home of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Adam Thomsen, the Dry Thomsen. Joining me is Ron Maunz here at the beautiful half mile that hosts the world famous Knoxville Nationals every single year. Last year, Kyle Larson being the Knoxville Nationals champion in 2024. Ron, this is an exciting track. I love this. Is one of the most prestigious sprint car tracks in the country.
Oh, it absolutely is. We were talking right before we went live how I don't have a whole lot of experience when it comes to covering dirt racing, but Knoxville Raceway, located in Knoxville, Iowa, it's the host of the Knoxville Nationals every single year. The NASCAR Truck Series even ran here a couple of years ago. This track is just synonymous with American dirt racing, not only in the Midwest, but the entire country. So I think of all the ways to get this first part of this XSLR season started, brilliant way to kick it off.
Yes, we're in the 410 sprint cars, and for those of you who are new to dirt track racing, 410 sprint cars, 410 cubic inch motor with 900 horsepower underneath the steering wheel there. And of course, it is a quick machine. There's no gear switching. It is one single gear. Generally, you would push start these cars, and already Stevie Ray going quick time with a 15.310, and now Adam Thomsen with a 15.067 quick time here at Knoxville, at the Knoxville Speedway. And that is going to be a tough time to beat it when you're in those low 15s in a winged 410 sprint car. Another kind of piece of technology in these sprint cars, you can move that wing up and down. And who is that? Jason Green doing a wheelie down the front straight, and into the fence he goes. And again, that's another feature about these cars. They put down enough horsepower that you can do a wheelie. Now taking a look at Jake Ham as he's going on his quali lap. He goes fifth fastest with a 15.427. Can his second one be faster as he goes down the back straight? Again, this is only a half-mile track, so not very far to go. Here he comes off of turn number 4. Excuse me, I got myself backwards here. There he is going through turn number 4 here, and he goes with a 15.3696. So fifth fastest for Jake Ham. 13 drivers have entered here tonight. Again, one of the best tracks in the world of sprint cars. So definitely something to keep our eye on. Couple of features, couple of vocabulary terms for all of you out there that we'll be using throughout the night. There's the berm, which we just saw Jake Ham hit. That's actually a lifted berm. And you do not want to hit that in these cars. That will send you flying up the track and it'll slow you down. And then of course there's the cushion. The cushion is actually towards the top side of the track. One of the big things about Knoxville is that it can build that cushion. There goes Jake Ham spinning sideways into the fence, and that cushion is just a small sliver of dirt from the piled up dirt that you'll see up there, and that's actually can get you some good lap times if you're able to rip it around the cushion. But around here in Knoxville, definitely taking the low side. Now Jason Gritter in the 552 machine. He is going to go ahead and start his first lap. Here we go. Can he find the lap time here? And we have seemingly, there he is, coming off a turn number 2 down the back straight into turns 3 and 4. Can he find quick time? And he's slowing up here.
Meow.
Something.
And okay, Adam, I need to share a story of what the other Adam just did. So on the Ray Esports Club Racing Series, which you were able to cover for me a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks before then, I jumped into a commentary booth that the other Adam Thomsen, our current provisional pole sitter, was doing. I jumped into the commentary booth, said, "Pardon me, I have nothing to say," and then left. So he responded 2 minutes later by coming into the commentary booth while we were on the air for the Ray Esports Club Series and meowed. So you just got to witness that firsthand. Welcome to SMB, Adam.
Well, I'm glad to be here. Again, that was Adam Thomsen, the wet Thomsen, I should say. So Knoxville Speedway, here's some interesting facts about Knoxville, Iowa and Knoxville Speedway. Knoxville, Iowa only has a population of 7,595 people. The capacity of the Knoxville Speedway is 21,000. Let's head in to heat number 1 of 3 tonight. We have 4 cars per heat. So in the first heat race, on the front row in the 244 is Adam Thomsen. That's the wet Thomsen I was talking about. And on the outside, the 85 of Jake Ham. Row number 2, the number 7 of Kevin Irwin on the inside. And rounding out heat number 1, the 29 of Joshua Suxy. Excuse me.
I believe it's sushi, actually.
Sushi. Well, that is an interesting way to spell sushi.
Yeah, I gotta say, honestly, Jake, he was a driver in a other series that was broadcasted here on SMB, and that always caught me out too, but I believe it is actually sushi. And funnily enough, I will mention something about Jake Ham. Starting right behind him is a car with a team just named Cheese. So we've got a sandwich of a race here to kick off this season.
Well, Adam Thomsen on the pole. He gets to go whenever that pace truck pulls off. And in the short track situations, the pace car does do 2 laps to get everybody in gear. Little bit of slight usage in the track, nothing really building, no rubber going into the track. Again, for you newcomers who are just getting into dirt track racing, when we say rubbered in, you'll see kind of a black little streak going in, especially in the corners. If you start to see black, especially around the middle of the track where it really rubbers up here at Knoxville, that is slick. It is not very fun to drive through. You want to find that grip. You want to find the part of the track that has the most moisture and the most dirt on it, because you'll grip up even quicker. These cars use Hoosier tires, and they put down a lot of horsepower. Pace truck is off. And here comes the field on a turn number 4, green flag, and away we go of the first race of season 9 here at Knoxville Speedway. Adam Thomsen, great getaway on his opening lap here. Further back, battle for the 3rd spot, the number 7 of Kevin Irwin in 3rd. Falling back is going to be Joshua Sushi, who is just trying to find the time here. But Adam Thomsen now leading the way by just a 1.5 seconds. But you can see that battle for 3rd. All the cars will transfer in, will get a chance to race in the main tonight. Adam Thomsen puts up the fastest lap time with a 15:037 here. Jake Ham falling pretty far behind, almost 2 seconds, Ron.
Yeah, and as it stands at the moment, running at your podium is Kevin Irwin in that number 7 car. The Cheese car currently wedged in the final podium spots. Let's see if he's going to be able to break away from the rest of the field. Otherwise, he's probably going to be feeling a little bit salty.
Yeah, these heat races, of course, when you just have 4 cars, they're kind of hard on all of a sudden issues for the 7. He is let go of potentially 3rd, and there goes Joshua Sushi into the fence. He's trying to pull his best Kyle Larson at the Tulsa Shootout impression. Doesn't get it quite done. He is out of this race here, and Adam Thomsen is going to go ahead and run away here with just 2 laps remaining. Again, these are 8-lap heat races. Adam Thomsen right now looking on track to be a direct transfer into the A feature here tonight on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And of course, Jake Ham, he will go to what's called the B main, and just will have to try and qualify for his position in that one. You can just see he is just trying to pull everything he can. But again, these 4-car heat races, it's hard to gain position. You're kind of going to be in order here as we will head back to Adam Thomsen, who will be coming across the line here. Adam Thomsen will win heat race number 1 here. Jake Ham in 2nd.
Oh, God.
Demolition Derby. Hey, he turned that thing into a non-wing sprint car. And Kevin Irwin in 3rd. So Adam Thomsen.
Holy cow.
Well, you gotta have some fireworks and something. So, but Adam Thomsen, direct transfer into the A main. Everybody else goes to the B main tonight. Next up, heat race number 2.
And looking at the starting grid for heat race number 2, it's going to be Stevie Ray from Slow Motion Racing starting on the pole. Trent Kramer going to join him on the front row. Jason Green, who we saw wedged into the outside Armco barrier during that qualifying session early on, is going to round out the 3 cars set to grab the green in a couple of moments' time. Now, a lot of these drivers that we'll be seeing all throughout this brand new season of XSLR are drivers that you see every single weekend here on SMB. And for the Weekend Warriors, these 3 drivers were either on track early on or tuning in the case of Stevie. So Trent Kramer and Jason Green were actually battling early on in some Formula Fords. So going from some FFs to some 410 wing sprint cars, which is about as tough of a transition as you can possibly get. It's like a Martian landing on planet Earth and ending up in Vegas.
How many horsepowers are those Formula Fords?
Not 900.
Not 900.
Pretty far below 900.
You would be correct. And so, yeah, 900 horsepower under the steering wheel of these sprint cars. Of course, when they get going, they can reach up to 150 miles per hour around Knoxville Speedway. And in certain tracks, 170 miles per hour. I mean, these cars can get absolutely flying. If you are a fan of the World of Outlaws or high limit racing, you know what these cars are capable of, and these cars are fantastic to watch. Of course, there's other classes. There's the 360s, which is a 360 cubic inch motor, and then 305s. Pace car is off field, coming off a turn number 4. Green flag, and away we go in heat race number 2. Stevie Ray in the 111 pulling away quickly here, but he does have some company of Trenton Kramer right behind him in a number 20 in the Rutsy's Lightning McQueen paint job there. And right behind him, the 160 of Jason Green, currently single file. Jason Green falling already 2 seconds behind the leader here, but you can see Trenton Kramer, he is doing everything he can to try and get up to the race leader right now and try and make a move, and we'll have our first actual pass for the lead of the night, but it's going to be tough to get up to him, especially when you get these cars moving here. You can kind of start to see a little bit of some rubber into the track in the corners, not enough to make a big difference, but it's just something to keep in mind as the evening goes on. You can see now Kramer, he's closed the gap now to just 0.3 of a second. Actually gets a good run out of turn number 4 here. Can he find a way by? No, he cannot. He's going to go down to the low side, try and get into the tracks of Stevie Ray and Ron. This is where these sprint cars, they can start to heat up when they start getting closer together like this.
Yeah, that's the thing when it comes to battling in these race cars. These cars designed at just about the closest you can get to the edge of the laws of physics. Driving 150 plus miles an hour on a dirt oval, hanging the ass end of these cars out through every single corner and generating boatloads of downforce. These 410 sprint cars, I love these race cars on iRacing. They're so fun to drive, but you're on the ragged edge of control, and you're on the ragged edge of the laws of physics as well.
Stevie Ray takes the white flag one more time around here in heat race number 2, still maintaining just about a 0.4 of a second gap between first and second place. Trenton Kramer goes down to the low side, trying to just find that time, slides up the track. He's not going to get there. Stevie Ray will win heat race number 2 and will start outside of the front row in our A feature later this evening. Everybody else goes to the B main.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers that we just saw in this race is Jason Green gonna whack the crap out of the barrier in 3 and 4. Those drivers not really having a lot of experience in these 410 sprint cars. However, I think in this race that we have coming up, we've got some XSLR veterans, some more drivers from the Weekend Warriors world. This is gonna be a good one.
Heat race number 3 looks like this. On the pole position, the 905 of Brad Cathcart, and on the outside, the number 50 of Annie Kosick. Inside row number 2, the number 78 of Derek Falke. There we go. That's only, again, 3 cars in this heat race. So may seem like, again, why run the heat races? Well, we're going to send the winner to the A feature, and then everybody else is going to go to the B main or the what we would call a last chance qualifier as well. Again, we're using some terms here that is not particularly normal to standard asphalt racing. So again, just trying to explain some of the terms. So we got the pace car out there, all 3 cars out there. Actually, that number 50 reminds me of a dirt track racer here in my hometown of Travis Reber. He's raced on the World of Outlaws before. He's one of the better sprint car drivers in the South Dakota region, and it will be great to see him back out at our wonderful dirt track we have here in the Black Hills. Heat race number 3 about to get underway. Brad Cathcart, the 905, your pole sitter here. This one might be a little bit interesting here as we're getting kind of further down the order of qualifying. Pace truck should be pulling off here in the 21,000 person virtual crowd on their feet for this one. And we are getting ready to go. Here comes the field out of turn number 4. Green flag, and away we go. 905 of Brad Cathcart gonna get to turn number 1 first, but right behind him is gonna be Andy Kosick, and Kosick trying to get right to the back bumper. But I like what Cathcart is doing, taking that middle line, allowing that engine to kind of really start to wound up here, then goes down low, gets right to the edge of the berm. Again, you don't want to go over the berm. You'll lose a ton of time. It's not like the Chili Bowl where taking the berm can be a little bit faster. Not here. This is a high-speed half-mile track, and you cannot hit that berm. It will send you into the shadow realm, Ron.
Yeah, and we saw that a couple of years ago in real life. I believe it was Jessica Friesen running in the NASCAR Truck Series race here a couple of years ago, ran over that berm and flipped it. And of course, the smooth brains at the Fox production truck did not catch that on camera. I may come back to regret that statement later on in my broadcasting career, but nevertheless, don't want to hit that around this track. I remember doing that Chili Bowl broadcast on the iRacing YouTube channel back in December. I saw some drivers hit that berm and get some air. My back was hurting after seeing that, so these drivers looking to avoid that at all costs as we got tied for the 5th lap of the race right now with Brad Cathcart and Kosick.
Well, that hardly ever see that in dirt track racing, both having exactly the same fastest time, but Cathcart does one better, 15.263 quick time so far in heat race number 3. But Kosick, he is not going anywhere. He is still just about a half second away with now 2 more laps to go here in heat race number 3. Cathcart coming through turns 3 and 4. He is going to take the white flag one more time around for Brad Cathcart to go to the A feature tonight for the 30-lap A main, and that should be an interesting race as well with what we have seen so far in terms of lap times. Now you're starting again. I'm looking at the corners here. You can kind of see the rubber starting to build up just a little bit on that high side, a little bit of a cushion as well. And Cathcart will win heat race number 1, Kosick in 2nd, and Falke in the 3rd spot. So Cathcart to the A feature. And if my calculations are correct, we should have only 1 more heat race to go, and that'll be our total of 13 drivers. So let's look here. Michelle Lynn on the 05 taking the pole position in heat race number 4 on the outside, the 37 of Jimmy Howat, and then Jason Gritter, 552 in that 3rd spot. So that is our final heat race of the XSLR Season 9 Round 1 of the Knoxville Nationals heat races here. So preliminary action, 1 race to go before we head to B main action here tonight.
Now we've got 3 different drivers running in this race. 3 different drivers in terms of their background. You got Jimmy Howard, who I believe is a veteran here of the XSLR series. Jason Grider and Michelle Lynn, on the other hand, they are staples of the Weekend Warriors. Actually, I say that. I don't believe Jason Grider is going to be taking to the start of this race. So just going to have these 2 of Lynn and Howard. Michelle Lynn has a lot of experience racing in real life, albeit an open wheel formula car machinery. So running an open wheel car here, albeit not in her wheelhouse. And Michelle Lynn, the Philadelphian, in the 05 car, which was actually meant to be the 215, and hopefully that fix will be made in later rounds. But still, she is going to be starting from the pole, and this is going to be a heads-up fight. Two very different looking race cars, two very different drivers. Gonna give us a heads-up fight in the final of these heat races.
Again, pace car out on track here. It's the truck. Of course, that is the default for the dirt tracks around iRacing. And of course, we have a great schedule. We got Eldora at the end of series number 1. One of the, I would say, the best dirt track in the country. Field coming out of turn number 4. 2 out of 3 cars. Michelle Lynn will take the green flag, and away we go. Again, this is for a spot in the A main at this point, or go to the B main, and goes down the inside, goes Howitt, and Howitt trying to get through. He's taking that inside line. He almost slides up the track, slides up and gets the spot. But Michelle Lynn not going anywhere, but Howitt, he claims that lead position here and looking to go into tonight's A feature.
And that right there was a berm-assisted slide job from Jimmy Howard coming out of 3 and 4. That was terrifyingly close. If those two cars were a couple of feet closer, that would have resulted in one of them probably ballparking their way out of this racetrack. Michelle Lynn slotted P2 as it stands at the moment, but this is a momentum game, and let's see who's going to keep that momentum rolling. Howard wall riding it, heading through 3 and 4, and that's going to be the shot that Michelle Lynn takes.
You can't take that high side, just hop that cushion, got to the fence here, side by side at the line here. It's going to be Howitt back out in front, but only by a 1/10 of a second. Here they come through 1 and 2. Outside goes Michelle Lynn, maybe thinking that high side may have something to it, takes it up to the cushion, doesn't gain any time from it because the cushion not fully formed up, not great to run on at this point, as Howitt coming through 3 and 4 now. Howitt is in charge with just 2 laps to go, 3 laps, I should say. We're only on lap 6, so we got 7 and 8 to go. But Michelle Lynn trying to track down Howitt. Here we go. The 05 right there. This is close enough where you're starting to feel the pressure if you are out in front. You feel that pressure. You don't hear the engine, but you do. And of course, these cars naturally do not have any mirrors. You don't have spotters. You don't have mirrors if you're a true dirt racing fan or a driver. In iRacing, of course, you get your virtual mirror, but there goes Michelle Lynn trying to go down the inside. Contact into turn 1 and 2 and into the fence. Both of them go.
A big wreck with a white flag in the air. This is very similar. Oh, and look at that, Michelle Lynn trying to get a turn. This is pure shenanigans that we got going on right now. Scenes of what happened between Richard Petty and David Pearson at Daytona years ago. Michelle Lynn hits the wall. That's going to allow Jimmy Howard to break his way into the main show.
Jimmy Howard crosses the line with no front wing, which generates so much downforce in a crunched up top wing. Let's take a look at that one more time. Michelle Lynn dives into turns 1 and 2, just makes contact with the front to back tire, and sideways goes Howitt. Howitt trying to collect it, ends up collecting not only Michelle Lynn, but also himself. Luckily, Howitt had the least amount of damage, was able to continue on, but that was definitely some fireworks at the end of heat race number 4. Oh, boy.
Yeah, so some fireworks indeed there, Adam. I mean, it was only a matter of time that we were going to see some of these drivers begin to dice it, but weren't expecting that. It was a entertaining finish to be sure, but hoping we don't have more shenanigans like that throughout the rest of the night.
Let's take a look at our B main, or the Constellation here. And again, these drivers will go to the A main. They're just deciding which order they're going into the B main and to the A main tonight. So on the pole, it's going to be the 85 of Jay Cam. On the outside, the 20 of Trenton Kramer. Row 2, the 50 of Andy Kosick. And on the outside, Michelle Lynn. On row number 3, it's going to be Kevin Irwin in the number 7 and the 160 of Jason Green. The full final row we got here, the 78 of Derek Balke and Jason Gritter. And the final starter in tonight's B feature, the 29 of Joshua Sushi. Cars out on track. And this will be the first time for some of these guys that they are actually going to be racing around more than 3 drivers tonight, Ron.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers are going to be pushed out of their comfort zones. At this point in time, these racers probably hoping that they got a lot more practice in, because come time for the drop of that green flag, it is going to be a brawl to try and figure out who's going to make it into the first main show of this evening. This season with 16 races to it, well, 16 rounds, I should say, to it. You want to strike while the iron is hot, and you want to get the best result that you possibly can. These racers looking to try and do the best that they possibly can. But to finish first, you have to finish. I have a feeling that being there at the checkered flag would be so important come time for the end of this consolation race.
We're on our second pace lap here. That means pace truck lights are off, and they will be heading into the pits here. J-Cam, your pole position with Trenton Kramer. This will be interesting to see what happens here. Pace truck will pull off here, and the field will come out of turn number 4, and right away J-Cam will take off, try and get some space between him and the pack, and here we go. 10 laps in this B feature, and away we go. J-Cam still out in front side by side for the second spot, as Trenton Kramer trying to hold off Andy Kosick. And right now, Kramer able to run away here, going back to third here. I want to see what happened with Kosick, as he's fallen down a couple of spots here in the 4th spot now. And right now, Sushi making up some ground as well, moving up into 7th. Here they come out of a turn number 4. And J-Cam takes the fastest lap here on lap 2, really. Again, these tracks only have one loop. Most dirt tracks, there's only one timing loop. So unlike some other tracks which have multiple loops, like in the NASCAR ranks and some asphalt ranks as well. So J-Cam currently out in front here by just 0.4 of a second, but is being chased down by Trenton Kramer here. These cars, they don't give off a huge draft like you would see in like stock car racing, late model racing, or anything like that. You would see that more in the stock cars than these open wheeled cars, sprint cars. You can see Michelle Lynn, she's also trying to chase down Trenton Kramer, kind of pull in that gap a little bit here. But Andy Kosick lost one position off the start here, Ron, and that's not where you want to be, especially at the start of a race.
Yeah, when it comes to these races, considering how rapid fire they are, I mean, we're well over halfway into this consolation race. You want to get off to the best start that you can. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. If you twist your ankle on that first step, you're not going to have a good ride for the rest of that journey. So these drivers had to get the best start that they possibly could. Really didn't work out well for Kosick. Finds himself in 4th at the present moment, as I think the fight to keep our eyes on is going to be between Trent Kramer and Michelle Lynn. Both of those drivers really out of their comfort zones. I mentioned Michelle Lynn's background a couple of moments ago. Trent Kramer, he primarily works on Mini Coopers that race around the country and road racing. So this is not these drivers' forte, but they're battling for a transfer spot. This is going to be intense.
Well, everybody will make the feature. Here we go, J-Cam. He's on the white flag. One more time around here, and big moves there happening. Michelle Lynn getting a little bit squirrely, collects it back up. And again, this is where qualifying for the A feature. J-Cam will win the B feature and goes into tonight's A feature in the 5th spot. Trenton Kramer comes home to 2nd. Michelle Lynn not able to get there in time, finishes 3rd. Andy Kosick in the 4th spot. Falke in 5th. Kevin Irwin in 6th. And that's it. Preliminary action all said and done here, Ron. And now we have a 30-lap A feature on the way.
And this 30-lap race is going to go by in the blink of an eye, depending on if we have cautions. Of course, those caution flag laps will not count for this race that we have coming up. So this is going to be a test of these drivers' patience. If it's 30 laps straight, we're probably going to be in av here really quick. If not, though, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where these drivers are going to have to stay in the game as long as they can, keep their head in the game. The mind games when it comes to dirt racing. Adam, you can speak to this a lot because this is your forte instead of mine. The mind games, though, when it comes to dirt racing, really important to try and do well.
You got to play them well. You got to get out there quick. You know, if you're on the pole position, You know, as we saw in the B feature, of course, Jake Ham just taking off right away, not wasting any time. But of course, I want to talk a little bit about the track condition at this point. So looking at it as we're riding on board here with the car, you can see that mound of dirt on the right side of your screen. There it is. And that is the cushion. And you can ride around that, but if you go over that, you could definitely lose some time. You want to just be right on the edge of it between the softer compactor, which is what the more lighter brown is, than the heavier stuff. Because if you get into that heavier stuff, you're just putting that tire down. That tire is going to spin. It's not going to get that grip. But then you also look just a little bit towards the middle of the corners here. You can see it's just a tiny little bit of blackness starting to rubber into the track. That means it's going to be a little slick. As we saw it just on the left side there, the track is starting to just pick up some rubber. That is going to be slick. And when you're doing 30 laps in these cars with 13 cars, it's not going to form very much, but it can cause some problems, especially when we approach that 10 to 5 laps to go on a track like this, because these cars are going so fast, they're laying down so much rubber, going around and around and around. Now, if it's a caution fest, that's not going to be something to worry about. If we get a good 10, 15 laps in before our first caution, you're going to see some guys try and maybe find a different line to go. So that's the one thing about dirt track racing that is so unique compared to any other racing series out there. Every lap, the track can change, and you're going to have to find where's the best grip, where's the fastest line. And sometimes that top line is going to be the fastest line, and sometimes the bottom is going to be fastest, or sometimes you just got to shoot the middle and just hope for the best. So that is where we're going to be at. 900 horsepower, 410 sprint car here tonight, Knoxville Speedway. Again, home of the Knoxville Nationals. And if I could just tell everybody, if you never have watched the Knoxville Nationals, after tonight's broadcast, just YouTube Knoxville Nationals 2023. You can watch Kyle Larson just absolutely run the field in that. And that gets a huge amount of cars. We're talking 80, 90 cars participating and all competing in that one just to be called the Knoxville Nationals champion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, warm-ups are all said and done. Everybody's gotten their stuff dialed in to where they want it. And let's take a look at our A feature lineup. Taking a look at the front row, the 244 of Adam Thomsen, the wet Thomsen. On the outside, the 111 of Stevie Ray.
Starting right behind them on that second row is going to be the Aussie of Brad Cathcart in the 905 car. Jimmy Howitt going to start alongside in fourth, completing that second row. We have Jake Ham starting right behind them in fifth. Next to Trent Kramer, the Ohio man, in sixth. Michelle Lynn will start this race in seventh. Next to Andy Kosick in ninth. Rounding out your top 10 and your fifth row is going to be Derek Folk and Kevin Irwin.
You're outside of the top 10, the 29 of Joshua Sushi and Jason Green on the outside. And our final driver tonight will be the 552 of Jason Gritter. So that is a look at your field. Again, Adam Thomsen winning heat race number 1. Again, all the heat race winners got an automatic transfer, did not have to compete in that B feature. And of course, now we get to see these cars go to war. What we would say, go to war.
Yeah, these drivers going to find themselves in the trenches in this race that we've got coming up. There's so much to keep in mind in this 30-lap race. You got to worry about what your competitors are doing to a certain extent in terms of those yellows that may play a big role and throw a big wrench in the works for how these drivers are going to tackle this race. You have to think about those mind games as well. You also brought up a very good point in that warm-up session, Adam, talking about the track evolution. Where to place your car is going to be so important, not only in terms of defense and offense, but in terms of just keeping your car on the racetrack and not ending up nosed into the barrier. There's so much that's going to be riding on these drivers' minds in this 30-lap race that we have coming up, but it's going to go in the blink of an eye. So you've got a lot of thoughts riding on these drivers' minds, but not a lot of time for them to really piece them together.
Adam Thomsen, Stevie Ray, your front row. Pace car should be pulling off here. This time it will. And here comes the field out of turn number 4. Green flag, and away we go. Adam Thomsen in contact with the second place runner, Stevie Ray, and the 905 Brad Cathcart. He'll go back and further away the field here. And right now, just trying to get it all together. Will get it together. No caution for that. And a huge wreck on the back straight into turn number 3. And that will bring out our first caution here. And that was Stevie Ray involved in that. I want to say Gritter as well. Let's take a look at what happened here. Stevie Ray on the high side makes contact here and goes directly. Oh, it was Kramer. Oh, the 111.
Yeah, that was Stevie
Ray Kramer.
Yeah, that was Stevie Ray, and Trent Kramer was the first car that he hit. You can see him in that Lightning McQueen number 20 car. There's contact made between the two of them. That sent Stevie Ray into that inside wall. The 78 car getting involved in that action as well. I think Jason Green ended up in the outside barrier, but the two cars primarily involved in that being Derek Folk and Stevie Ray. Brad Cathcart got a piece of Stevie's initial drama heading off into turn number 1 at the very start. But let's take a look at the 78 car through this drama.
Yeah, let's see what happens to that 78 of Derek Falke. And Falke is just an innocent bystander of that. Is able to keep going. Doesn't look like too much damage happened to him. You know, that front wing, yes, it provides some good downforce, but if it's a little bit damaged, no problem. Yep, just an innocent bystander in that. Maybe a little bit of wheel damage, but nothing too terribly bad. And it looks like he is continuing on. And Howitt make it to the grid? Because he's showing a lap down here. 4 laps down.
Yeah, I think he did not take the start. I saw that he was on pit exit at some point. However, I'm not sure if he has actually joined this race or whether there's some sort of live timing issue. Either way, Howitt, who we saw involved in that very dramatic finish with himself and Michelle Lynn earlier on, not involved in the battle as it stands currently, but I think we may be re-racking him again. This race back underway soon.
Yep, pace car lights or pace truck lights are out. Adam Thomsen, Trenton Kramer, your front row here. Double file restart. Pace truck is up. Field out of turn number 4 and green flag. And away we go. Here at Knoxville Nationals, now going down the inside of 905. Excuse me, that was not the 905. That's the 85 of Jake Ham trying to make up some positions here, trying to get by. Kramer doesn't get it done. Adam Thomsen still out in front as they come through 3 and 4. Now guys starting to switch up to the high side here, trying to form a train up there, maybe finding a little bit more grip, a little bit faster line through there. You can see now the 905 of Cathcart, he's able to get back going after the earlier incident in the first couple of laps. Michelle Lynn hard into the wall, but nothing going after it. She is able to collect that, keep that car nice and steady. It's all right. And who just hit the wall there? That was that Sushi that just hit the wall there. He smacked it. Absolutely smacked the wall on the back straight, but keeps it going here. Now, okay, guys, you can't be up near the wall that close. You got to get off the wall at some point, but that is absolutely fine as long as you're not damaging your car or others. But Adam Thomsen now taking almost a 2-second advantage here on lap number 6 of 30. 30 is a standard feature race here. You can see guys are trying to get a little bit. Okay. Oh, we got one into the wall there, and it's the 78 of Derek Falke, and iRacing does its magic and gives him back his top wing, but he's going to go into the pits. Oh, he hits the wall too, and this might bring out a caution. No, it does not. He's able to get back to the pit, so no caution. We stay green. Jake Ham in third now, trying to track down Trenton Kramer, but has quite a gap to get, and we have a yellow.
I think that may be is that Thomsen possibly running into some? Actually, no, I think our live timing tower is currently having a panic attack at the moment. That's Jason Grider in the 552 car. So I was worried at first because I saw Thomsen drop down like a rock. I was like, oh no, please don't tell me. Either he just got struck by the hardest falling anvil ever to be thrown out of a helicopter, or the flux capacitor in that car got activated when he hit 88 miles an hour. But look at that. Holy cow. Breakdancing is Jason Grider, and he nearly ballparked it.
I was going to say, who just ran through him? He ran through him so fast, iRacing didn't even register it. So the damage. So some big moments there for Grider. So Jason Grider you're not going to get that. Well, Is there quick repairs in this? I'm assuming there is because he's fixed up and
Racing mechanics on Red Bull.
Well, he's able to get repaired. He's going to get back out there, but he is not going to be a lap down here. So some good timing on that. Adam Thomsen is your race leader. This will be a double file restart because it wasn't back-to-back cautions, as long as it was set up that way in the iRacing server settings. So it looks like our live timing tower, it's getting itself figured out. So in oval racing, when it comes to live timing, I will say it does mess up quite a bit. So you'll notice that if you see the leader starting to fall down, unless we physically see the leader actually go off, don't worry about it. Adam Thomsen will take the green flag. Underway's lap number 8 of 30 here at Knoxville Speedway, home of the Knoxville Nationals in the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Adam Thomsen, again, a good getaway from him. And now the 37 of Howitt. Howitt trying to get by. Who is that? Is that Kosick? Yes, it is Kosick, and he will get by on the high side. Kosick is not able to maintain control on that low side, just gets out of shape, and has to just tuck right back in without losing another spot. Michelle Lynn now, that number 5 car, side by side here with Sushi. Sushi is going to lose the spot to Michelle Lynn. Michelle Lynn not able to, well, is able to drive away here. And of course, our outside pole sitter of Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray's making up some ground in that 9th spot. You can also see Kramer, who was in 2nd, is now falling back down to 9th. What happened to Kramer? What in the world? Almost contact there with Sushi. Sushi having to get out of the gas, I think, there. While Kramer was making his way through the field here, Ron. That was close.
That could have ended an absolute disaster. I gotta say, despite the fact that I'm an asphalt guy, it may be swaying this a little bit. I know enough about dirt racing to know that these are some very close calls with these drivers. A matter of feet, sometimes inches, sometimes millimeters, separating these cars. Holy cow, I gotta wonder whether or not these drivers consider dousing their entire cars with Vaseline so they can bump off each other a little bit easier.
Right now, Adam Thomsen extending that race lead out to 3 seconds. And what has happened there? Michelle Lynn and
Kramer into the wall.
Kramer into the wall. Where he go? He is into the infield.
He ballparked it. I mean, a self-clearing incident there for Trent Kramer. I think he found the gap in the wall because there's a little bit of bumping going on with Michelle Lynn. And then Kramer just came in, I think hit Michelle Lynn, that or he hit Irwin. Either way, look at this wild ride from Kramer. Yeah, contact being made with himself and Lynn, and there we go. He ballparked it, and a self-clearing incident for Trent Kramer, but he just knocked the crap out of the wall in the process.
Track officials would love Kramer because he got into the infield without having to bring out a caution. So he is in the clear with the track officials, and now we got a great battle here for the 3rd spot here. Here's Howitt taking on the 85 of Jake Ham. Jake Ham on the inside. Howitt trying to go around the outside, got a little bit out of shape. Going to go down the inside. Slides up the track here. Now Howitt trying to get back on the loud pedal here, but it's going to be a tough task at this point. With now on lap 18, now 19 of 30. We got 12 laps to go here at Knoxville, but a good run down the back straight for Howitt, not able to get the job done. Goes down to the inside, and we got a caution here.
Yeah, caution back out with 19 laps on the board. Looking to try and see who brought that yellow out. I think we have a replay involving Joshua Sushi in that number 29 car. Contact with the silver with Brad Cathcart, and he tumbles, heading down into 2 and 3 and 4. Holy cow.
Yeah, made that a non-wing sprint car. Not going to be very easy to drive around this place, and just goes end over to the side. And comes to a rest on all 4 tires. That's good. but he obviously knocked out of this one. That was unfortunate for Sushi there. That was a hard hit. One thing I will say about how iRacing and models these 410 sprint cars, they don't roll over that much, okay? He made it look like a trampoline down the back straight. So a little dramatic there on that one, iRacing, but they do flip, you know, but these cars, they are built very safe. I've talked to sprint car drivers and professionals. Actually, Ryan Timms, a couple of years ago, was out here at my local dirt track participating out here, who is now in a 410 sprint car and racing on different high professional tours with the World of Outlaws and High Limits, and at some big tracks like Huset Speedways in Brandon, South Dakota. You know, and I asked him, he was 16 years old at the time. And this is a kid that's an up-and-comer talent of the sprint car world. And I asked him, I've heard that it's easier to drive a sprint car faster than it is when you're slower, if you're just starting out. And he said, honestly, just put your foot to the floor and you'll feel the car out, and you'll feel how these cars drive. And that is very true, especially on iRacing. You know, don't half throttle it. Get on the loud pedal, get going, get down the road. Green flag will fly here, lap 19. Now 20 of 30, 11 laps to go. We have lost just a couple of cars here. Looks like, I think, 2 cars officially in this one. One of them. What in the world is happening there? The 37 trying to get their spot back. Ends up doing it in kind of a little bit of fashion there, Gron. And of course, you can see him. Michelle Lynn just hits the wall in the turn 1. That's rare. You don't see that very often into a corner. But now the 160 of Green trying to get onto Andy Kosick, and we got a caution out.
Yeah, as we're following Jason Green, that yellow going to come out yet again. Not sure who the car was. May have possibly been Grider, as he's made the call to come back into the pits in the 552 car. Will note in that incident involving Howitt, and then immediately followed by Michelle Lynn. Howitt just looked sideways, slideways, coming out of turn number 1 and 2, and then followed about a lap and a half later by Michelle Lynn, nearly flipping it through 1 and 2. I wouldn't be shocked at all if she crapped her pants as a result of all that, because she nearly flipped it. As we take a look at a simple spin for Folk, and nearly tipped over in the number 78 car.
All right, we're not going cow tipping here. All right, keep that car on park wheels. Yeah, Grider was able to get his car back straightened out. I know we're in Iowa and we got a lot of farms around, especially in the Knoxville area. But there's no need to be going cow tipping here. This is Knoxville Speedway. You want that car, we want to be on all 4 legs at the end of it. So
Adam, I was just going to chime in here a little bit. As someone who has gone through the state of Iowa on I-80, which I think is about 2-ish hours away from Knoxville, Iowa, out there, I don't think there's a single cattle farm. I think it's entirely like corn and soybean country out there. I say this as someone who's lived in the city of Philadelphia for all 20 years I've been on planet Earth, but from my amateur assessment of driving through the state of Iowa, I mean, certainly Iowa, you got cornfields and you got soybean fields and not much else, an occasional shady gas station here and there that sells low-cost cigarettes. But it's a lot better than Nebraska, which is about 50% dust and 50% ball. So I'll take Iowa any day of the week.
I love how you describe that. I really don't want to hear the description of where I'm at in the South Dakota area, because people like to get that mixed up with North Dakota.
Hey, you guys have Mount Rushmore.
I do, and I live 20 minutes away from it, so I guess I win here. Single file restart because of the consecutive back-to-back cautions and green flag, and away we go. Adam Thomsen out in front here. J Cam in that number 85 trying to get up to the 244, but it's going to be a tough task coming from a single file restart. But that 37 of Howard is back on the charge here, and there goes this 160 of Green, and we got a caution.
And these yellows coming out really back to back to back to back to back to back to back. So let's see, as we're following the yellow car of Jimmy Howard in that number 37 car. In there, these drivers still running at a rather full pace, trying to catch up to that pace car. Currently 25 laps on the board as it stands at the moment. So we are slowly but surely approaching the end of this race. But with these back to back to back to back to back yellows, not allowing these drivers to really get themselves into some sort of groove. So I think these drivers are going to be slightly off the mark a little bit, as it's another spin for Falk in that number 78 car.
Falk, you need to get off the berm, sir. That is not an area of the track that you want to put that car on. So, that is not it. You know what? They need to institute a 2 caution rule, which is a very standard rule amongst all local dirt tracks. You cause 2 cautions, your night is done. You're not able to continue the race, and that includes heat racing and stuff. But Adam Thomsen, the 244, still out in front. This will be a single file restart as we are within 10 laps to go here. Will be 7 laps to go. That wasn't back-to-back cautions, though, because it was lap 24. The leader did cross the line. So we are going to see another single file restart. Not my favorite type of restart. I like that double file, or in some other cases, the Delaware double file restart, which we'll get into next week on what that looks like. Of course, Andy Kosick, he is up into 5th right now. The biggest mover so far is Jason Green. He has made up 6 spots as our timing tower having a fit. 6 spots. He started in 12th, and now he's up into 6th. Can he go further here with just 7 laps to go here? Adam Thomsen will take the green flag here. Pace truck is off field. Will come out of turn number 4. Green flag. And away we go. Adam Thomsen tries to go down to the inside, then goes back up high. We'll take that high side. Now you can see the rubber starting to lay in. That cushion is also pushed up a little bit further. And look at Howard. He said, screw the cushion. I'm just going to go run through it. And he made it somewhat work, but isn't able to quite get there. This time he does get into the cushion. Is able to get it, contact with Jake Ham in the rear. But those two keeping their wheels straight and pointed forward here. As Howard goes, trying to go down to the low side, isn't able to pull the slide jump. But here comes Michelle Lynn around the outside.
Oh!
And Michelle Lynn, it's absolutely massacred.
Holy cow. Michelle Lynn just had possibly the hardest impact I've seen in my entire time doing iRacing broadcasts. Holy schlit.
Oh, Michelle Lynn that was a murder. That was an absolute murder.
That whole corner's a crime scene right now. Holy cow.
Howard, she's got a family, man. Like, dang. Let's take a look at that one more time. Michelle Lynn cooking it around the outside, and Howard just ignores her. Just does not even know she's there and takes her out. Luckily, Howard as well has some. Well, he's doing.
Oh, he ended up on side too.
So,
oh, I mean, I gotta say, honestly, maybe I'm just sick in the head, which, considering some of the stuff I've said on the air over the years, is certainly the case. I mean, if you're gonna crash out of the race, you may as well do it spectacularly. Holy cow! If that happened in real life, we'd probably be under a 2-hour-long red flag having to repair the Armco barrier, because wow, that was the hardest impact I've seen in a while.
I got to make a correction there. That isn't an Armco barrier. That's just a fence. That is just a fence. It's just a steel fence. That's all it is. And if you've ever been anywhere like Port Royale or Knoxville, when somebody gets into the fence, they can go through the fence. It happens. Like, there are holes. They have to do fence repairs all the time at big events. So, but we are coming to the end of this caution period. We got 5 laps to go. What in the world has happened here? Oh man, y'all gotta get it together. If we had a real life flagman, he would not be happy right now. Green flag, and away we go here on slow motion broadcasting here on Knoxville Speedway. Side by side, Stevie Ray trying to make his way forward here, trying to get by the number 50. Isn't able to hold it on the inside. He has to go behind. Now he's being chased down by Kevin Kerwin. Now side by side on the inside. Seems like the low side has lost its speed and lost its flare here. And the high side, it's where it's going to be at. And the question is, can you get from the high side and make a pass? Now Stevie Ray trying to go back down bottom. Isn't able to make the pass here. Now Kevin Irwin. He's just trying to find a good line here. And watching these guys and where they're racing, he'll take the middle that time, as we now have 2 laps to go in this A feature. This is where it can get spicy here because there are no green-white checkers. Caution comes out, we re-rack them. Here comes Adam Thomsen now to take the white flag one more time around for the 244. He takes that high side here, and it's going to be very difficult here. He does have a substantial lead. All he has to do is just keep it pointed forward. Adam Thomsen will come off at turn number 4. Adam Thomsen will win here on the first night of the XSLR Dirt Track Racing League here tonight. Here at Knoxville, Jake Ham comes home to second after battling all night. Jason Green up 9 spots, the hard charger of the night. In third, Andy Kosek in fourth, Stevie Ray in fifth. That's the top 5. We'll get our full results later here. And Ron, they survived Knoxville.
That they did. The first of 4 dirt oval races for these drivers. We got 4 groups of 4 races with 4 different disciplines here from the Cross Series League Racing Championship here for Season 9. But what a way to get things underway. Adam Thomsen taking the checkered flag, and we're going to be keeping a Weekend Warriors and Ray Esports tradition. They're going to knock the crap out of their race cars at the end of this race. Thomsen burning it down. I think he just got T-boned. Jason Green involved in all that. Credit where credit's due to Jason Green, a driver who I don't really know has any sort of dirt oval experience at all, who I've had a lot of experience covering some road racing with. He is quick in the road races, but he held on. He kept his car clean. I mentioned earlier on the fact that keeping your car clean all throughout this race was going to be oh so important. He was able to do that, and he walks away from this first race of the season with a podium. Well done to Jason Green.
Let's take a look at the final results here of the first night of Series 1 of XSLR. All right. We'll take a pause on that.
Gotta sing a song as we wait for those results to get up.
I just want to give everybody some very good news here. The Daytona 500 is on after an extensive rain delay, and Joey Logano is out, so my night is absolutely made right now. So, that is a good sign.
Spoiler alert.
And
brief spoiler. Oh,
I want to break all the hearts of Logano fans. I don't care.
If you guys want to hear a good story about being a spoiler, one time I was doing, I used to work in race control for a series that's broadcast with a different broadcaster on Monday nights, and one time I had to handle the post-race drivers meeting, because a person who usually does it is a big Florida Panthers fan, and this was around the Stanley Cup this past year, and I had mentioned what the score was entering the final period of that game, and I got flamed as a result of all of it. So I would not recommend spoiling the results of any sort of NHL game, because from my experience, I can assure you that goes down about as well as a lead balloon does in a lightning storm.
But see, I'm intentionally doing it. So apparently our results are having some problems here, but we'll just go through them anyway. So Adam Thomsen, you're tonight from the pole, and then Jake Ham in second, Jason Green third, up 9 spots. Andy Kosek up in the 4th spot, gaining 4 spots. Stevie Ray had to fight back valiantly, but only comes up into the 5th spot. Kevin Irwin 6th, Jimmy Howitt in 7th, Brad Cathcart in 8th, Michelle in 9th, Joshua Sushi in 10th, Jason Gritter in 11th, Trudger Kramer and Derek Folk out of this one in 12th and 13th. So that is the first event here this week for one. Let's go ahead and we do got some interviews here. Let's start off with our race winner.
Oh, here we go.
Adam Thomsen. Well, Adam, you meowed at us at the beginning of the broadcast and you come up with a race win here at Knoxville. And so I'm guessing the cat meows are kind of just your secret to winning.
Meow? Yeah, dude. No, it was a lot of fun. I think the cat meow started Ron? About a month ago. I think Ron popped into one of my broadcasts and said something and then just left out of nowhere. So then I was like, all right, Ron, you want to play that game? I'll pop into one of yours. So now we just pop into each other's broadcasts and meow at each other. But no, the race tonight was a lot of fun. The track got a lot more worn in than I expected it to. We've been doing practice races for the past 2 or 3 weeks. Never had this many cars on track at the same time. So even I was struggling there at the end. Obviously, Adam, I know you saw the slider line was working for me there for a while. And then the slider line went away and I had to start running the cushion. And that's when throttle control came into play. And throttle control, even around Knoxville, is very, very tough.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's probably one of the tougher tracks to do it at because of just it's not banked at all. It's fairly flat around. But you won by dominant fashion, 2.9 seconds. You were just in total control of this race. How did you manage throughout those cautions?
The cautions when we were too wide was scary, obviously, on the inside line. That's not where you want to be on those starts as the track started to wear in. But once we got to lap 20, obviously the last 10 laps are all, single file. So I was able to start up there in that good dirt. And it was much easier for me then. But yeah, I was just trying to find some clean dirt there at the bottom of the track to get a good start on. And it worked out. I mean, it really did. And massive shout out to all the drivers, by the way, in the league. That was a lot of these drivers, first time they've run these 410s. I think for 50% of the field running these for the first times, they did okay.
I would agree. So you get the Triple Crown tonight. You get fastest lap, you get the heat race win and start on the pole, and then you win from the pole. So really, that's a pretty successful night.
Yeah, so 37 points coming to me tonight. Obviously, fastest lap or first in qualifying gives you a point, and also fastest lap in the feature race or in the race itself gives you a point. So yeah, I was able to haul in all those points, which is good. Didn't think I was going to make it tonight because Jimmy Howitt over there, who decided to not, by the way, bind a tear-off button, which is why there were some issues there at the end of the race. He couldn't see anything. So apologies there to Michelle Lynn, and we will look over that later. But yeah, so I was hanging out with Jimmy. We had a baby shower this afternoon, and I got kicked out of the house for it. But yeah, I got back just in time, was able to get a few laps in, and was able to pull it in somehow. I was surprised. Jake Ham's always super quick. Jason Green, one of the people who has never run a 410 sprint car, by the way, in his life. He just bought it last week, and he finished third, so keep an eye on him.
Well, anybody you want to thank for the race win tonight?
Adam, this is the first time I've talked to you. You've got the wrong spelling, by the way, of your last name, but you still got a pretty cool last name.
No. You're the wet Thomsen, I'm the dry Thomsen. All right, like let's just make that clear.
All right, that's fair. But no, massive shout out to you for coming in here and helping Josh out. Ron Maunz, obviously didn't expect you in the booth tonight, so Ron, massive shout out to you. Joshua Wilkie doing everything behind the scenes. Where SMB is going right now is something that I had a vision of. Josh and I have talked about. So it is really cool to see what's going on there in slow motion broadcasting. And I cannot wait to see where it goes. Josh, with you and Ron, Stevie at the helm as well. Stevie Ray from Ray Esports. Obviously, all the Weekend Warriors. 50% of our grid was comprised of Weekend Warriors tonight. So massive shout out to Stevie and my wonderful, wonderful wife, who may have just turned over 8 months pregnant. Almost. Maybe not quite. But yeah, we've got April 6th is the due date there. So I'm super excited, obviously, for my wife, who's sitting out there watching the broadcast right now. And, everything that she's done for me. And yeah, it's crazy. If I wouldn't have met her, I don't know if I would even have this company. My wife and I talked about it 6 years ago, I was a little bit drunk one night, and she drove me home from the bars, and I was like, hey, I'm going to start a broadcasting company. And she was like, hell yeah, you do that. And look at where it's come, and look at the people that I have in it. So just huge shout out to you guys. I'm also going to shout out the drivers for XSLR. But tonight, this one's for you guys, and thank you so much for everything you guys do.
Well, thank you for joining us here. Congratulations on your win, and we'll see you next week. And hopefully we'll see a little bit better racing next week without a couple of those cautions. So
yeah,
thanks, Adam.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you, Adam, with your last name spelled the wrong way. Goodbye.
Just a clarification, it's just a German spelling, okay? So let's just talk to our second place finisher, Jake Ham, who had to really battle there. Jake Ham joining us now. Jake, second place tonight, but you had a big old battle at the end there.
I'll take it. I mean, the track got rough there at the end, and I'll take second place all day. It was good. Talk about the battle with the third place finisher, Jason Green. You guys were going back and forth. You also had a couple of run-ins with Jimmy Howlett, and it just seemed like just a whole list of people if we actually just continued on. But just talk about those battles. Yeah, it was a heck of a run there. I just couldn't get the grip down, man. I was stuck where I was at. I didn't want to move out of the way. You know, Jimmy tried to make a couple moves. Him and I collected each other, which then caused him to get into Michelle. So quite the debacle there. Feel bad about that. But Jason there at the end, if we would have had a couple more laps, I think he could have had me. It was nice of him. He was pretty respectful there. I think if he would have done a slide job, he could have got it. But I don't know if he would have made it stick with the track was at the end. But at the end of the day, all in all, really good finish, I think, for one of our first race of the season. Ron?
I don't really have much to say if I'm being completely honest. So I am still a newbie when it comes to these Dirt Oval broadcasts. So Adam, I'll let you ask the intelligent questions, and I'll just be in here to ask the stupid ones.
So Jake, just a quick question. Adam Thomsen, the race winner tonight, mentioned this, that majority of the grid has never driven really a sprint car, you know, especially just in normal lobbies on iRacing. How much have you driven a 410 sprint car on iRacing?
Not a lot. 410s, I haven't had it. Nope. I've driven the lower end one. What are those, 360, 370s? Those are a heck of a lot easier to drive. These 410s are just monsters. I mean, they pop wheelies on restarts, and honestly, holding grip around them is a nightmare. This track is actually, in real life, is about 45 minutes away from me. And I've actually had the opportunity as a kid to actually drive a sprint car around it, which is kind of cool. And go down there for nationals, outlaws, when I was a kid. And so I know it pretty well. And I know, coming into 3 and 4, there's actually a hole that you have to miss as the race goes on that was showing up. And so that kind of helped out. But there's still a handful, man.
Well, congratulations on your second place. Anybody you want to thank for tonight?
Meow, I tell you, I want to give a shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Love to go back and watch it. Looking forward to that. Adam for the league, XSLR, obviously. Mike Browning does my paints, so appreciate that. And then my pit crew, all my fans out there watching, Meow. And we'll be here next week, and hopefully can pass Adam one of these times, Meow.
Yes, lots of meows. That's the secret to winning around here. Well, thank you so much for joining us here in the broadcast booth, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, you go have a good night. Thanks.
Now, Jake Ham, our second place finisher, and our final interview of the night is our third place finisher in the hard charger of the night, Jason Green.
Well, Meow, Jason, welcome into the commentary booth, and the hard charger here at Knoxville. Meow, indeed. That was it was a pretty good drive from you here for your first ever race in a 410 sprint car, being the hard charger and keeping your nose clean. Talk us through that trial by firing squad that you faced here tonight.
Yeah, I was getting super frustrated, to be honest, in the heat race and the consolation, and probably the first half of the feature race. First race in these cars, probably the second time I've ever driven them. I didn't really expect to finish well. Was just kind of trying to hang out. And then I guess as the track lost some of the dirts on the inside, just started running the high line, and everybody else started to struggle a little bit. So yeah, was able to get lucky, avoid some crashes, and make some passes around the outside.
I want to ask you, because it's your first time driving this car extensively in a race session, what your thoughts are on this 410 sprint car. I'm an asphalt road course guy myself, but whenever I'm in these 410 wing sprint cars, or non-wing sprint cars as well, they're always so fun to drive just because it's an absolutely ridiculous driving experience every single time you get into one of these. So what are your impressions on these wing sprint cars?
Yeah, these things are wild, man. They're absolutely crazy. They've got so much power and so much downforce. Really, you wouldn't. I mean, they've got the huge wing on top, so it's not really surprised that they have it. But yeah, the impact that it has on it, changing it forward and back wildly changes the balance of the car. But yeah, the speeds they can carry through the corners are just ridiculous.
Yeah, these cars are an absolute hoot to drive on iRacing as well, and excited to see you in this series all throughout the season, along with a lot of the other drivers who are making their first appearances here in XSLR from the Weekend Warriors world, you, of course, being no exception to that. I gotta say, these 410 sprint cars, I think have like 10 times the amount of horsepower as a Formula V that you usually drive on Saturdays here in SMB, so that's a nice little fun fact for you there. But Jason, before we let you go and celebrate this podium to kick the season off, is there anyone you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
Yeah, thanks to Adam, both for the paints and for getting me into this. He, I don't think it'd be too much of an exaggeration to say he dragged me kicking and screaming into the league. But I'm glad he did. So thanks to Adam.
And I'll thank him as well for the kind words that he said a couple of moments ago, along with Adam, my booth mate here in the commentary booth as well. Would be remiss if I didn't mention that. But Jason, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth, and well done on the podium here tonight. Thanks for joining us, man. Excited to see you back out on the track for the rest of the season.
Yep, we'll be meowing next week.
Meow indeed. I have created a monster. And we got a lot of stuff coming up here on Slow Motion Broadcasting as well. I'll take the reins on this for you, Adam, just because I do this way too many times here at SMB. We got the Tuesday night action from the American Muscle Series that you can catch every single Tuesday at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Some old Mustang action, but some great action as well. My booth mate in the Weekend Warriors, Mr. Randall McGrew, is usually on the call for those, with Josh doing a wonderful job working on the cameras for those broadcasts, so you can catch that action on Tuesday nights here on SMB. Doesn't stop there though. The following day we got the action from Wildcard Wednesdays here on SMB, the Ray Esports Club Racing League Series, which you can catch at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, followed immediately after by the Sim Racers Group Intermediate F4 Championship. You can catch all that action on Wednesday nights here on SMB. Mr. Adam Thomsen, different Adam, Wet Adam, I'm not really sure the origin of that. I'm not sure if I really want to know. He's usually on the cameras for that second broadcast. Josh is on the cameras for the first. But come time for the weekend, we got the action from the Weekend Warriors, the Formula V Weekend Warriors, every single Saturday at 2:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Formula Fords, which you can catch on Sundays at 12:45, and the Spec Racer Fords, which you can catch at 2:45. But that doesn't even end it for the action on Sundays here on SMB. As you just saw, the return of XSLR. It's back, folks, and it's here to stay. In 1 week's time, we're going to be running at USA International Speedway for some more 410 wing sprint car action. Adam, I'll pass it back off to you, because this was one heck of a way to kick this season off.
Well, next week, USA International, it's, again, a very large track, a very high-speed track, and a lot narrower than Knoxville is. But, of course, it is a free track, and, of course, you can always join us here on SMB for that broadcast. Well, for everyone here at Slow Motion Broadcasting XSLR, we'll say good night from Knoxville Speedway.